For joining me for 21 ways to make better social posts. I'm going to make this presentation as fast as possible. I know you're all very busy people, so I'm going to go through these 21 things, and then I'm going to go ahead and see if anybody has any questions at the end. Right now, I am going to go ahead and mute everyone, just so that there's no feedback or anything like that. You can feel free to chat with me in the box on GoToMeeting. If you have any questions at the end, I'm going to unmute you guys so that you could ask me questions if you want to. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So first of all, if you don't know me, I'm Jenny Kuglin. I'm the Director of Customer Relationships for SocialNewsDesk. I've been a journalist for the last 13 years, worked in lots of newsrooms around the Pacific Northwest. I most recently was the General Manager of Fisher Interactive for Fisher Communications in Seattle, ran the website and all the social media for Como Television, K2 Television, and other radio and TV stations for them. I was Social News Desk first client, and now I am here helping you guys. All right, so social media obviously is constantly changing, so we want to make sure to keep you guys posted when things change. Some of this is maybe stuff you know and have heard, and some of it might be sort of new. So of course the reason that we are always talking about this is we want to drive people back to your brand. We want to increase your page views. We want to increase your ratings. Now, Facebook wants you to be paying for your posts, of course. Most of you don't have the budget, so we need to get that talking about this score high. High talking about this score means Facebook shows more people your posts. So I spend a lot of time talking about Facebook. It's more complicated than Twitter. And so these are some of the ways that people can interact with your page and that Facebook counts towards its people talking about this score. I have these two examples of our clients, King 5 in Seattle, WKRC. They both have really high talking about this scores. They do a great job, and I have some of their examples in this presentation. All right, so first of all, retweet often. Pretty easy thing. We got this statistic from Twitter. Journalists with above expected follower growth send 200% more retweets than those compared to journalists with below expected follower growth. So retweet people. I go to a lot of station Twitter pages and I see them sort of just, having the headline linking. Maybe they'll retweet reporters, but they're not really communicating with the rest of the community. So go ahead and feel free, retweet people. So this used to be our number 2 thing, calls to action. In fact, I think there's probably some of you on this call where I told you to do this and now I am telling you not to do this. Unfortunately, before you could say, hey, please share to get the word out, or please like this post, and it really, really worked. When people were doing that, like this post on the left, 8,000 shares, the one on the right, 500 likes. It was great. It was a certain way to grow your engagement. Well, Facebook sort of figured out that people were doing that, and legitimate news organizations were doing it, and it was great. But then a lot of spammers started doing it, and so really low-quality content was getting shared. So Facebook wanted to find a way to stop that from happening. So now they are crawling feeds, and if they see that you're doing these direct calls to action, they might punish you. They might show that post to less people. So unfortunately, you got to do a better job of getting people to like and share without just saying it. So there's a way, there are ways around this. This is one of our clients, WIC. There's a recall. Normally they might say, hey, share this post, but instead they're saying, hey, check to see if your vehicle is on this list and let your friends know as well. So you're saying share it without saying the word share, which is what Facebook is looking for. And as you can see, after being up only a couple hours, they had more than 300 shares on that post. Now, Twitter is just going to let you say it. You're not going to get punished. So there, actually ask people to retweet. It really does work. Here's an example from that station, King 5, with 126 retweets and 22 favorites. Another thing you should really make sure you're doing on Twitter is to use hashtags, not just because it's fun, but because it's a way to reach people who aren't following you yet. So here's this example of this Fox station. They did this tweet about traffic, but they didn't use any hashtags. If they had, they're in Hartford or they use traffic, then people there might just follow the hashtag Hartford, and then they're going to see the brand talking about traffic in their feed, and they might not even follow them yet. So they're getting exposure to the brand, or they might say, oh, they're really good at updating me. I'm going to go follow them now. So it's a way to get in front of people who aren't already your fans. Also, you want to explain to people why they should click. Now, it may seem sort of obvious because you've already seen the story when you stick a link in there, but sometimes I don't know what I'm getting. If it's a weather post, am I getting the 7-day forecast? Am I getting radar? Am I getting traffic cameras? I don't know sometimes. So do what 9 News did here. Say, see more traffic cameras here. It got a lot of engagement, and it really works. Also, ask questions. So if we're not able to say share and like as often, questions are always a great way to get a lot of engagement on Facebook. Ask questions that you know are going to get a lot of answers. I like this one on the left. Is your health care better, worse, or the same under the Affordable Care Act? It's not a yes or no question. It's going to prompt interesting responses and in-depth responses. So that works really well on the right. They've got that question separated out at the top. It grabs your attention. They're both short, easy to look at. You're going to get a lot of engagement that way. Same thing on Twitter. Ask questions. Same principle applies. Also, when you're doing all of this, do not forget the link. Most station pages are really good at including a link, but a lot of times, unfortunately, your anchors and reporters are not. And it's a wasted opportunity to be driving traffic to your brand, get people to that website, get them used to your brand so they'll watch your newscast or read your newspaper. And also that's where you're making your money. So you want to make sure that that's where your traffic is headed. They're not reading it all just on Facebook. Another thing that's a little more difficult, and it's constantly shifting, so I have 2 things that work right now, but it'll always change, is to what I call join internet culture. So there's always sort of trends and jokes happening. So try to join those when possible. You maintain your brand, but I think people really like when they see TV folks or journalists seeming really relevant. So like this WKRC on the left, Throwback Thursday, that's something that you probably see a lot. Hashtag TBT on Twitter or Instagram. So they just joined it, and they're always every Thursday doing a look back at their station. So great. They also participated in making memes. Now this isn't on the right. This isn't really a news post, but it was something really, really popular that got them to 17 million people. So that means the next time they post one of their more serious stories, which they certainly do, it's going to get a lot more eyeballs. If you can find ways to have fun, it's going to really, really work for you. All right, on Twitter, make sure to be using photos and video from Twitter. Tweets with media receive on average 3 to 4 times more engagement than those without media. And Twitter has changed their layouts where they're showing things larger. It looks more like Facebook. And in fact, they're going to actually enlarge the size of the post if it gets interaction. So you can get a lot of people seeing those beautiful photos and video. Also keep it short on Facebook. Avoid see more. Shorter posts are going to get you 23% more interaction. No one clicks on that see more button. You also want to create original posts. Do not click share on Facebook. We actually don't have that in SocialNewsDesk. We do that on purpose. We need you as content creators and fan pages to be creating those posts yourselves. Don't share your reporter's post. Facebook's going to automatically devalue that post, show it to less people. You can give credit, but you should start from scratch. Make sure to tweet breaking news. Use urgent language on Twitter. That's why people are there. They want to be the first to know. They are much more likely to engage with you if you use that kind of language. Also avoid duplication. This was especially problematic when people were just starting to use both platforms. They'd sort of send the same thing to both things. That does not work anymore. I really don't see a lot of brands doing it, but I still see reporters and anchors doing it. Twitter and Facebook are different mediums. Just like your website and your newspaper or your website and your TV show are different products, so are Facebook and Twitter. There's no such thing as a retweet on Facebook, so it doesn't make any sense if you're taking what you're doing on Twitter and putting it there. You're confusing people, and you're not giving them a reason to need to follow you on both places. All right, UGC shout-outs, user-generated content. I see a lot of you asking people, give us photos, show us your mother on Mother's Day. And that's really great, but make sure that you're giving back. Show people the photos people are sending. I used to always make galleries on my website and then say, thank you for all of your pet photos. Here they are. So not only are you giving back to them, it's super exciting. The news station cares about them, but you're also growing page views on your website. So make sure that if you're asking, you're showing. Tweet at mention. So just like retweeting, answer people, talk to people. If you see someone in your community saying something interesting or asking a question, reply to them. Again, you don't want just headline link, headline link, headline link. News organizations that tweet 20% fewer URLs and 100% more at mentions grow followers 17% more than expected. Show behind the scenes whenever possible. People are fascinated. We might be bored. We know what it's really like in a newsroom, but they think it's fascinating. So show those moments. People love it. They really want to interact with it. It's very fascinating to them. those kinds of posts get a lot of interaction. It's a way to have some fun, too, while also explaining your process. Make sure that you don't ignore sports. Sports can get you a lot of engagement as well. It's another way to have some fun. You want to make sure that you have a good balance of soft and hard on Facebook. A lot of times people, they love to comment on controversial things, but they love to like and share inspirational, fun, and happy things. So have that mix. Depending on, the tone of your brand, maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable with a meme, but you do feel comfortable, with sports. So it's a way to get those likes and have some fun. Live tweet. So for journalists who post a concentrated number of tweets in a short time span, follower growth is 50% more than expected. Again, we're getting those statistics from Twitter. Fan involvement. So like I said, you want to show the UGC they send you, whenever possible, get them to be giving to you, get them to be helping in the news gathering. So on the left here, this station, they did a good job. They said, how are you spending Mother's Day? And they got some interaction there. But the one on the right performed a lot better. They asked people for photos, and they really told them how to do it. Very clear directions. Post in the comments by clicking the camera icon, so it's not just going on their wall. And they had 77 photos there. Frequency matters. So right now we're saying post on Facebook 11 to 15 times a day on your main station page. On Twitter, 1 to 4 times an hour. For just reporters and anchors, they just really need to be doing it every day. Don't let those pages go stale. Time of day also matters. This is a constantly fluctuating thing. The most recent thing that we've seen is that highest engagement is on Thursdays and Fridays from 1 to 3. You're going to see 18% more engagement. And then on Twitter, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, noon, 5 and 6, a 17% increase. All right. So I know that when I was in the newsroom, I like to have examples of people to look at that do really well. There's a lot of our stations that do well. This is kind of random. I'm not saying these guys are perfect, but I see them doing a lot of really good things that might be good for inspiration. So WISC, WKRC, King, Pix 11, and KCPQ, they're all very different. They all have very different styles. So it's good for you to maybe look and see, oh, we're more like them, and see how they're doing things. Again, these are stations that always have really high talking about the scores, so they're obviously doing something right. All right, well, those, I told you I would keep it fast. Again, I know you guys are busy, so that's my presentation. I'm going to unmute you guys and let me know if you have any questions. Anybody? No? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And please email me if you think of any questions later, and I'm going to send this presentation to Toby, and she can give it to you guys if you would like it. So thank you.